So on August 23rd of 2023, I started thinking again about time tracking my Japanese stuff. It's a thought that I've had before, but like I was always just too lazy to do it for more than like a day or two. But this time I was like, let's buckle down. Let's track how much time I'm actually spending on this. Because like a key part of like the method that I use, really, this whole like immersion thing, is just spending a lot of time with the language. And if I can actually see how much time I'm spending with it, like concretely, and not just based on vibes, I will see where I'm going wrong, where I could go better, where I could do better, what I could do better, you know what I mean. And also, it could just lead to motivation to do more. It's like, I have a very like monkey brain where I just really like seeing numbers go up and up and up and up. So like if I can use this as an excuse to just spend more time with Japanese, then good for me. So I've mainly been using this website called Toggle. It's mainly meant for like businesses and such, small businesses that need to keep track of like how much time people are working and like a lot like money and stuff, pay wages, that kind of stuff. Lots of those kinds of features built in. But you can also just use it for your own purposes as well, just as a general time tracker. It does have a premium version that you can pay for, but that I don't need that. You probably don't need that for anything that you're gonna do unless you're running like a small business. So Toggle lets you set up different projects, or they're called projects. I use them mainly as like categories for what I'm doing at a given point in time. So I have them set up as, I have a category for Anki, I have a category for video games, category for listening and watching stuff, and a category for reading stuff. So Anki is pretty self-explanatory. I just take the time that Anki spits out in like the little statistics thing, just throw that into Toggle every day. Games is for tracking how much time I spend playing video games, or more specifically, more dialogue heavy games. Like I'm not putting like a Mario game on there unless this is like a Mario RPG, like RPGs, adventure games, those kinds of things. This background is relevant for a reason. Listening and watching is for shows, YouTube videos, podcasts, Twitch streams, that kind of stuff in general. And finally, reading I have for stuff like reading books, manga, also visual novels. I have visual novels in reading because I feel like that is an activity that's a lot closer, kind of in spirit, to reading a book than playing like an RPG. So in total, between August 23rd and around November 21st, 22nd, I forget which, I tracked 280 hours in total. And splitting them up across the 4 categories, 78 hours went into Anki, 50 hours went into playing video games, 90 hours went into listening and watching, and 63 hours going into reading. Now looking back, I probably spend a lot more time on Anki than I really should be doing. I said in like my first video that nowadays I don't do a lot of Anki, which was kind of true back then. But now I kind of just have an addiction to it. So I do a lot of Anki every single day. Right now, I'm at around 12.5k words. And I think the absolute like max like word count that I would go for is 20k. Although I'm not even sure if I'm actually gonna go for that. 20k is just like kind of a number I got mainly from like Leva Kiwi's videos. But I've also like entertained like stopping at like 15k, maybe 18k. I don't know. It's just gonna depend on how much longer I find this stuff useful for. Because again, in the last 90 days, I've definitely learned a lot of words on Anki that I just keep seeing over and over and over and over and over again. I talked about this in the Tsukihime video, but for now, I still find it useful, but hopefully I will have it in me to quit when I don't find it useful. Or maybe I will. Maybe I'm just an addict. I don't know. So with the study Anki stuff out of the way, let's talk about what I've actually been like consuming. What have I been reading? What have I been watching, listening to, playing? That kind of stuff. So let's start with games, because that's just the order that I said things in first. So I started a couple of games, but I didn't really finish that many of them. One of them that I did finish, you can see it right here. I played Wind Waker for the first time. So in terms of language, I did learn a couple new words, I think, throughout my 15-16 hours of playtime. I learned around, I want to say maybe 120 words. Ish. But I still feel that, for the most part, Wind Waker was a very smooth experience, just in terms of understanding dialogue, understanding what, characters were saying. I didn't really struggle that much with that. So overall, thoughts on Wind Waker just as a game, not just as like a language learning thing? I thought it was pretty alright. I thought it was a pretty solid game. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite Zelda. I haven't played a ton of Zelda games. I've beaten like 1 and 2 on NES. I've beaten Link's Awakening, which is still my favorite at this point in time. And I've beaten Ocarina of Time, which I actually really like Ocarina of Time. So Wind Waker, I would say, is like kind of smack dab in the middle in terms of like my favorite games. It's definitely a very competent game, I'd say. It's very solid. I don't think it does a lot of things really, really bad, but there are some things that I feel like could have been better. And personally, I was just not super into the whole ocean navigation thing. A lot of it just kind of felt empty, and until I got the thing that makes you go fast, like the hole that makes you fast. I don't remember the English word for that right now. Oh god. Sail? Is it sail? I think it's sail. Until then, ocean navigation just kind of felt like, okay, let's look at Discord for like 3 minutes until I get where I want to be. Also, I felt like a lot of the story, just like the main story of Wind Waker, was just alright. I wasn't really that engaged. Can't really remember that many characters that I would, like, say that I feel very attached to. So, I think in those regards, Wind Waker kind of fell off for me, but I think otherwise, in terms of your presentation, Wind Waker is a really, really charming game, just art style wise. I did have a lot of fun with like the dungeons and that kind of stuff, and the boss fights. Everything else was pretty cool. But yeah, I'd still say it's a pretty solid 7 out of 10 Zelda game. Just not my favorite. I know so many people have said I'm like the Wind Waker hater now, but no, it's not. I don't think it's that bad. And the only other game that I actually ended up beating that was, like an RPG, adventure game, whatever, was Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. I actually played it for the first... That was another game I played for the first time during this whole stint thing. Stint? Whatever. And I really, really enjoyed my time with Superstar Saga. I think the battle system is really, really fun. And like the boss fights and just like timing your attacks and like using the bros abilities and stuff, and you're kind of like learning how to like time everything properly. It's such a good system. It's such a good battle system. Although I will say I feel like at times it like, in terms of like story and plot and like characters and stuff, I didn't really care about like the Bean Kingdom people. I didn't really care about Fawful either, honestly. At least in this game. I think in that aspect, Paper Mario, at least the first game, Paper Mario 64, absolutely clears. And that's still my favorite Mario RPG. That's a game I played like a year and a half ago when I first got my N64. It's one of the first games that I played entirely in Japanese without like an English guide and stuff. It was great. I love Paper Mario 64. And I still think Superstar Saga is also really good in its own right. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I still like Paper Mario 64. I like it a little smidgen more. A little smidgen more. But in terms of language, Superstar Saga was pretty simple. I think I only added maybe 40, 50 cards to my Hockey deck out of like the, 18, 19 hours of playtime I had in that game. Like, it was very easy to understand, very easy to read. If you want, like, a good beginner game, in Japanese, play a Mario RPG. So, other games that I actually got decently far into, or not, maybe not decently far into, but I did start and play for a couple of hours that I did not finish. Well, first of all, let's start with Ys 9. I wanted to finish that before Ys 10 came out, and then I did not finish it before Ys 10 came out, and now it's been like 2 months since I last touched it. Ys 9 is a weird game to me because I've wanted to... Oh, it's turning to daytime. Would you look at that? Ys 9, I've wanted to beat for a long time. Ys is one of my favorite franchises, or favorite series ever. I fucking love Ys. And Ys 8 is like one of my favorite games ever. Around the time I was playing Paper Mario 64, which also when I first tried to play Ys 9, and that was way too difficult for me back then. Nowadays, it's a lot smoother, but definitely not as easy as like a Zelda or a Mario game. There's definitely still a lot of words that I did not recognize when I was playing it, but I still don't think that was what kept me from finishing the game. It's just, I'm not the biggest fan of like Balduke as a setting. You know, I think that is really what deters me from getting through Ys 9. Gameplay wise, it's fucking fantastic. I like all like the like environmental abilities you get from like the different monstrums? Monstrum? I think that's what they're called. Kaijin is the Japanese word, if I remember correctly. Although they might still be called monstrum in Japanese, but it's just written Kaijin. Either way, like all the like the abilities to like, you know, fly through the air or like run up walls, it's really cool. I just really wish it wasn't in like Balduke, cause it's just a like in my eyes, it's just everything is very drab and gray, and like the dungeons are just like sewers and stuff. It's like I feel like it could have been so much more varied and interesting, at least in the beginning of the game. I only played like 6-7 hours of the game, so I didn't get super far, but that's my opinion on it. As it stands, I might have to go back and finish Ys 9 after making this video because I've kind of forgotten about it until writing the script for it. And finally, the last game I want to mention here is Yakuza 0. I started playing that a couple days ago. I've been meaning to replay because Yakuza was my entire personality when I was 15, and I haven't played the game since. So I've always been curious about how they are to play in Japanese, and also I just want to play Yakuza again because I miss it. Yakuza is so fun. Hold on, I need to get water. So I'm not like super far into Yakuza 0 either. I just finished chapter 2 the other day, so I'm at the beginning of like the Majima part, or the first Majima section of the game. But I think the Japanese, at least for my level, is like perfect. You know, it's like just easy enough that I comprehend like 99% of it like very comfortably, but at the same time I'm still learning a lot of new words and new kind of phrasings and, you know, that kind of stuff. It's good for my level. And also I feel like Yakuza is a really good kind of series to learn Japanese with, just cause I'm not speaking from my experiences, I'm just kind of, you know, basing this off of like my theoretical understanding of stuff. But Yakuza is the kind of game where you can kind of just do whatever the hell you want in it. And you can play for as short or as long as you want. Like, you can play that game for like 15-20 minutes or like 5 hours straight. And you can still do stuff. you know, you can do like a sub story, or you can, you know, continue the main plot. You can do a mini game or something like that. It's also just super, super immersive. So if you're doing all of that in Japanese, it's just gonna be like a super immersive way to learn more Japanese and to just hear Japanese and, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope to play more Yakuza 0 in the coming days. It's a really, it's one of my favorites that I don't remember anything about because I haven't played it in 5 years, but it's really, really good. You can play Space Harrier in it. You can play Space Harrier in it. That's all that matters. You can play a fucking Space Harrier in it. Don't let anyone tell you Space Harrier is a bad game. That shit rocks. So let's move on now to listening and watching and stuff like that. And I want to start with kind of more YouTube and podcasts and stuff like that. It's mostly the stuff that I've mentioned in that one video I made about like what to immerse with. Oh fuck, this storm. Yeah, it's most of that. You know, like Yurigengo Radio for Yonsta. Those kinds of YouTubers are the ones I've been watching the most. Actually, yesterday, I was traveling for 10 hours and I was listening to Yurigengo Radio the entire time, just kind of on loop. And so that's probably the most I've done Japanese for in a single day. It's a really fun podcast. It's a great podcast to just throw on in the background. Although I still think that today I still have a bad tendency to loiter around English-speaking YouTube. Especially if I'm doing stuff like, you know, eating. You know, you can't eat without YouTube because I'm a fucking Zoomer. But yeah, I'll just randomly open a video and just kind of waste like half an hour, 40 minutes before everyone's, oh shit, why am I doing this even? There's no point. If I'm doing it in Japanese, I at least have an excuse that I'm learning Japanese. When I'm doing it in English, like I have no reason. So that's definitely a habit I want to get rid of in the coming weeks and months. Now let's move on to actual TV shows and stuff. So I mentioned a little bit in the Tsukihime video that I watched Kamen Rider Faiz during this time. Also, I've also been watching a couple other Kamen Rider shows, just kind of bouncing between them because my brain can't fucking pick a show to finish. So I've also watched like 10 episodes of Double, 10 episodes of Blade, 10 episodes of Ryuki. I just... Ryuki's the one I'm watching right now. I hope to actually stick with it. But yeah, back to Faiz. Now when it comes to linguistic difficulty, I think Faiz was kind of, again, like Yakuza 0, it was in the sweet spot, maybe a little bit below, maybe a little bit easier than the sweet spot. But still, it was like, it was comfortable enough where I understood, like, most of what was going on. But I would always learn, like, a couple of new words every episode. But in terms of the actual quality of the show, Faiz is fucking amazing. Like, Faiz is, without a doubt, the best thing that I have consumed in this entire, like, 3-month period. Easily. It's such a gripping show. And the cast is so fucking good. Kusaka is such an asshole. I hate him so much, but he's one of my favorite characters ever now, just because I haven't ever seen a character in anything that just makes me genuinely go, what the fuck is wrong with him? Every single time he's on screen. Like, everything else, like, in everything else, like, those kinds of characters, I usually get, like, kind of tired of them, and just like, oh, you know, this character's doing their wacky antics. No, Kusaka finds a way to be Kusaka every single time, and I'm always like, what the actual fuck are you doing? What is wrong with you? I hate you, I want to strangle you. He lives rent-free in my head, and that's why I fucking love him. That's why Faiz is great. Takumi is also a fucking great pro tag. I love Takumi so much, dude. The only thing I would say that is subpar about Faiz is the ending, but I think everything else about the show is enough for me to overlook it. The ending is just very, very sudden, very rushed. It just kind of felt like they ran out of time. It felt like if Faiz had 5 more episodes, it would have been literally perfect. Or if they had just, you know, used the rest of the episodes kind of, or used their time better, I guess, and kind of spaced it out enough such that the ending was like actually like, there's a word I'm thinking of here. fully fleshed out. Still, watch Fies. I don't care if you do with English subtitles either. Just watch the show. Just watch it. It's good. I need talking to me so fucking bad, dude. You have no clue. So another thing that's kind of been racking my brain, especially like at the beginning of this and before I started tracking my time, like ever since like late July, early August, I've been watching a shit ton of Precure. So with that being said, I did watch like 1.5 Precure shows while I was actually tracking time. The first one, and the one I actually finished, was Kira Kira. At first, I did not like it. The first like 15-ish episodes did not grip me at all. I was not enjoying my time. I was just like, why am I watching this? I could just watch a different Precure show, you know? But I think as time goes on, as you get further and further into the show, you definitely do grow a lot more attached to the cast. It's still probably my least favorite cast out of the 4-ish Precures that I've watched at this point, but I still really like them. It's a good cast. I like Ciel a lot, even though she's French. She's unfortunately French, but I like her. And I do think Kira Kira probably had the villains that I genuinely cared about the most out of any Precure show that I've watched. Like, I like the villains in Hardcast and Tropical Rouge, but the villains in Kira Kira just kind of had more of like a personal connection to some of the main characters, and I found that really engaging. It's great. So, verdict is, Kira Kira is pretty good. Kira Kira is pretty good. If you're like me, you didn't really enjoy the first couple of episodes, maybe it will be worth it for you to push through. And the half Precure show that I watched, or the half of a Precure show that I watched, I should rather say, was Yes Precure 5. I was very hesitant on watching it just because Coco and Nuts, I don't like them. I still hate them. They shouldn't be there. Get them out of my damn show. But if I just pretend they don't exist, Yes Precure 5 is really fucking good, actually. Okay, really, really fun cast. I like how they bounce off of each other a lot of the time. It's great. Nozomi is really silly. I like Nozomi a lot. She is so silly. But yeah, I've only watched like 20 episodes. I definitely want to keep going because it's a really fun time. I really like Yes Precure 5 from what I've seen of it. I also started watching Jujutsu Kaisen like 2-ish weeks ago. I think in terms of language, it's actually pretty damn difficult. Surprisingly. I feel like there's just a lot of weird obscure words and weird ways of phrasing things that I haven't heard in anything else. It's difficult. It's definitely more difficult than most of the things that I've been consuming in the past 3 months. I haven't actually finished the first season yet. I'm on like episode 20 or something. I do want to finish it, but I do think at this moment I think it's just alright. I feel like a lot of like the humor and stuff of the show just doesn't hit me at all. And I don't really like how sometimes there'll be super serious moments and then it'll just throw in a random gag that I don't laugh at. It just goes back to being super serious, and it's like, I don't know. It just feels like a show that's trying to be super serious and super funny at the same time and doesn't really succeed at either of them in my eyes. The only character I really like is Gojo. He's cool. I like him. But other than him, like, it just makes me feel like I want to watch Chainsaw Man, or read Chainsaw Man preferably. Like, it just feels like Diet Chainsaw Man to me still. And that was also my initial gut reaction to the show when I tried watching it in like early 2022. I was like, man, I'm not feeling it. But I'm still gonna try and finish it because I still want to know what the fuck people are talking about on my damn Twitter timeline. I want to be informed. And when it comes to currently airing shows, the only show that I've been watching that is currently airing is Sousou no Frieren. It's also another show in that sweet spot in that it's still very comprehensible, but I'm still learning a fair bit of words. every episode. And Viren is satiating a thirst I didn't know I had for just a regular medieval story. Like, it's not an isekai, there's no like special twists or anything. It's just a story about elves and magic and, you know, medieval towns and stuff. I know some people find that boring, but I like it. I really enjoy it. I like Fern. I like Fern a lot. She has a lot of funny faces. And I'm a fan of characters with funny faces. So, yeah. And when I caught up with the anime, I actually started reading the manga, which will transition into the next part of this, the reading bit. But yeah, I've only read up to chapter 35, I think, which isn't that far. But yeah, it's a good read. I've been enjoying it. I haven't actually been reading that much else during this time. So out of those like 60-something hours of reading, like 40-ish of them were Tsukihime. If you want to hear my thoughts on Tsukihime, I did make a video on that like a month ago. I said I wanted to keep reading the other routes. I haven't done that. I'm still kind of, my brain's still kind of fried from attempting to read Tsukihime. But I'm still intending on getting back to it. I did start another VN in the last like 3-4 weeks, which was Canon. I've only read like 6 hours of it, but Canon is fun. It's really fun. Again, another in the sweet spot, maybe a little bit on the easier side. If you like moe blob creatures, it's a really good VN. I was literally thinking about reading Canon today, and then I was like, no, I had to record this video, or else I'm gonna forget about it. It's gonna be like 4 months since I started tracking. It's like gonna be like, oh my god. And the only other thing that I tried reading was actually One Piece. So again, it's another thing where I want to understand what people are talking about on my timeline, so I delved into the manga. I read the first 50 chapters, and I actually really enjoyed what I've read of it. Again, it's like, it's very cartoony, and I kind of like that. It's like, it's a cartoony world with like actual like logic to how things work, and it's fun. I've just been too lazy to read more of it, because again, it's very daunting. It is a very daunting read with how long it is, but I absolutely will get back to it, because I want to read more. I just haven't even gotten through the Grand Line. So yeah, that's pretty much everything of note that I have been consuming in the 300 hours since late August that I've been doing Japanese stuff. Hopefully in another 3 months I'll make another update video for this, for like the first 6 months of tracking stuff, and I'll tell you what I've been, you know, doing since. Hopefully I will have finished some of the stuff I've left unfinished. So for now, I'm gonna go procrastinate on studying for my university exams, read some canon. Maybe I should read some One Piece after this, actually. I don't know. But yeah, I hope this has given you some insight into what I like to do, and maybe given you some inspiration to find some stuff for you to play or read in Japanese. Go immerse if you're learning Japanese, or don't if you're not, or I don't know. But with that being said, that's all for the video, so bye.